Hey y'all, it's your weird aunt Jennifer, and today I wanted to show y'all how to make the Soapnuts cleaning solution that I make. I do make a type that is for laundry, but I will show you that in another video when I'm ready to make some. But it's going to be exactly the same process. It's just you're going to leave all the extra stuff out of the laundry one, and you're going to put in borax and washing soda. But today I'm doing the cleaning one, and I do put a lot of various cleaning herbs and plants in them. But so let's just go ahead and dive on in, and I want to show you what a soap nut is. This is actually the shell, or the husk, or the skin, whatever you want to call it, of a soap nut. And they actually do have little berries that go in, and every once in a while, if you order the shells, you will occasionally get the odd berry, and I don't quite know what to do with those. I don't know if I've only gotten one out of all the soap nuts that I've gotten, but I've heard people say you can turn them into beads, or I think you can color things with them because they're this really dark red color. But anyway, today we're just going to use the shells, which is what you usually use. And these are called soap nuts because in the skin of them, they have basically natural soap in there. I mean, it's all natural soap. It suds up, everything like that. All you have to do is get it out of there. And that's what we're going to do. And what I have is a big old pot. And I'm going to put about, I want to put about 15 to, I usually make a more concentrated one, especially for cleaning. So I'm probably going to put about 30 in there. And y'all, you can get a pound of these from Wholesale Supply for $6. And they last forever because you can make a ton of solution out of them. Out of just 15 to 30 of the nuts. So let's just move right along. Here's my pot, and I'm going to put about, and I don't always count entirely, it's about 16, and I do count the pieces as, you know, like these little pieces, like a couple about this size, I'll call it one. That's about 23. Okay, so that should do it for now, and I have a whole other bag of these, and that's how many I have left after using that many. And I'm also going to put, like I said, this is my cleaning solution, and so I'm going to put various cleaning products in there, or cleaning herbs in there as well. For instance, peppermint. This is peppermint, and I love it just to give it kind of a fresh scent, and peppermint also does have some cleaning properties. It's a natural astringent. And I'm just putting it right in the pot there. Okay, got my peppermint. And again, just like with my 4 Thieves, if you've seen that video, then please, if you haven't seen it, then please watch it. If you have, then you know that basil is one of the, or can be one of the 4 Thieves, which has antibiotic and antiseptic qualities. Okay, and also thyme, another of the 4 Thieves. And I'm going to put, as ever, I'm going to put some cloves in there, again, for both the fragrance and for the antimicrobial properties. Red tea for cleaning. Okay. And let me see, what else have I got? Okay, my oregano, another of the 4 Thieves. I'm going to put a ton of oregano in there. Oregano also gives it a really nice fragrance. Okay, and I'm going to put orange peel for the fragrance, and orange does have some cleaning properties to it. but it's mostly for the fragrance, and it actually kind of shines things up a little bit. And lemon peel as well. And as I've mentioned in my other videos, I get my herbs from various sources, including a local shop here in Rome, Georgia called Purple Mountain. I also get them from Bulk Apothecary and Star West Botanicals. I think that's almost, okay, my lavender. Pretty much anything, any kind of cleaning solution is good. You can use lavender in it, and it will do a very good job. And and also it has that wonderful floral, pretty fragrance to it as well. And you know, I'm just gonna dump this whole thing in there. Got a whole other. Got a container of it already. So okay, so there is what you have in your pot, and then all you do is just fill it full of water and then bring it to a boil. You can use distilled water. I don't because it's going to come to a boil anyway, and so that's going to sterilize the water. And once now you may or may not choose to do this, but I always prefer to put some preservative in my soap nut solution because it might be a while before I use all of it, and I do also store it in the refrigerator just in case. But I'm going to fill this with water and bring it to a boil, and I'll show you what it looks like when it gets to that point, and then we'll move along. Okay, so now this is coming to a boil, and you really have to be careful. If it boils over, you're going to have a mess on your hands. I mean, for real, a bad mess on your hands. Yeah. Sorry. But you see, I'm stirring it and making sure that it doesn't boil over. But you notice how much foam there is on the top. That's the soap nuts at work. That's all of that natural soap that is just being extracted into the water and stirred up with the boiling. And so I'm just going to we're just going to let it get to a good boil, and then we'll reduce the temperature, and I would call that a good boil. And I'm going to reduce the temperature and stir it until it calms down so it doesn't boil over. And see, it really wants to boil over. You just gotta make sure you watch that, because it's going to be a big old mess if it does. Yeah, I got it. Ooh, I might need to turn it down a little bit more. Look at that. Okay. But yeah, so just keep an eye on it. Make sure that it's not boiling over, and just keep stirring it until it calms down. And then when it does calm down, then you're going to let it simmer, but make sure it's still bubbling. You're going to let it simmer for anywhere from 30 minutes to, I mean, you could even do it up to 3 hours, however concentrated you want it to be. I'm probably going to let this go for an hour. That's kind of enough. Now, it may boil down during that time, and if it does, then you just add a little bit more water. Bring it back up to a boil and let it go a little bit longer. That will give you a more concentrated solution. So I'm just going to let this chill, let it do its thing for about an hour, and then it will be ready to cool and strain. So, okay y'all, I have let my soap nut solution cool off a bit on the back burner here. And now I'm going to strain it into a large bowl. And this is not always the neatest process, and you definitely want one of these kind of sieves that you can hang on the bowl, especially if you're small like me and need both hands to lift the pan or the pot. But anyway, and I've also got a piece of this muslin cheesecloth that I'm going to go ahead and sieve it through. Now, my soap nut solution, I prefer to sieve it twice. I sieve it the first time when I put it in the bowl, and then when I put it in my bottle for my cleaning solution, I sieve it again, also through cheesecloth. Because when you're using a spray bottle, the tiniest little particles will gum up the works pretty bad. So the best way that I have to strain things is I put out, try to get most of the liquid out first off, and then I'll do like a little bit of the herbs at a time. And this is actually still pretty hot. If it's hot, then you might definitely want to, yeah, that's pretty hot. You might definitely want to spin it around like this and kind of strain it that way. Or you can use a spoon, whatever you need to do. You know, I'm getting tired. It's getting late in the day, and I gotta eat, and I want to get done with this. Okay. And you see, it's sudsing up. It's wonderful how that does. But anyway, I get out a little bit of the material at a time and toss it. If you compost this, all this would be compostable. And I just reuse the same muslin cheesecloth over until it's done. And you definitely want to squeeze out the herbs, because there's a lot of liquid that gets trapped in there. And so you definitely want to get everything out that you can. You want to use it for all it's worth, essentially. Cheap as it is, you know, you want to be practical. You want to be frugal. Squeeze as much. My hands are getting a little bit old and therefore not terribly strong. So I like to use a spoon sometimes. And now you can save the soap nut shells if you want. I have done a few things with the shells, because there's still a lot of the soap substance in there, in the shell. And one of the things that you can do is that you can pulverize these with your hand blender, and then strain it with maybe a little bit of aloe or soap nut solution through the cloth. But just to make sure that, because when you pulverize it, it will froth up some more. And I'll usually pulverize it with some of the soap nut solution, and it makes a really good shaving cream. I've just found a better recipe for shaving cream that I use, and so I don't use this one all the time. I'll probably eventually come back to it when I get in the mood. But again, you have to sieve the shells out after you've pulverized them, because it's really hard to get them completely destroyed, and you're still going to have some kind of fibrous material in there. By the way, bugs kind of hate soap nuts. I mean, that's not very clear by the fact that that gnat was hovering around. But things like ants and mosquitoes, and I believe roaches, all really, really hate soap nut solution. And so that's another good reason to use it on your counters if you have a problem with pests like that. Okay. And I'm just now rinsing out my cheesecloth real quick. And I do reuse my cheesecloths. I wash them in the washing machine in the lingerie bag, and that gets them clean. You can use them again. Now, with customers' orders, I actually generally use brand new cheesecloth, but for my own stuff, I reuse it. Okay, and so there's my solution. And you see how frothy it is? It's wonderful. And I am going to put a little bit of liquid Germall Plus in here, not much. Just to make sure that it preserves well, because I'll store it in the refrigerator until I'm ready to make my cleanser out of it. And I'm actually going to show you how to make that here in a minute as well. But I don't put much in there because it's already got a lot of antibacterial elements in there. but we still want to make sure that it doesn't mold or get fungus or anything on it, because that's pretty gross when you, you get fungusy counter cleaner. With most preservatives, you have to make sure that your temperature is not over, I believe it's 100 and some odd degrees Fahrenheit. But this has been cooling off long. It's still warm, but it's not hot enough to negate the effects of the preservative. So I'm just mixing that in. And there's my solution. And I will transfer this to a container. And then I will show you how to make my counter spray or my all-purpose spray. Okay, so now I'm going to show y'all how I make my cleaning solution. I decided to go ahead and use the cool glass bottle I got with my Grove Collaborative box for this, because I use it so much, and it'll be nice to have it in this little glass bottle. And the plastic one I use just draws up for some reason. But okay, the first thing I'm going to put in is my vinegar. This is the Four Thieves vinegar that I made I made a couple of weeks ago. I've decanted it, and I've also strained this, and I strained the Soapnuts solution again, and I will do it one more time, putting it in here again just to make sure, because especially with these kind of smaller tubes in your spray bottles that don't have the little plastic piece that goes over the end, you don't want stuff getting stuck in there. The problem comes when it gets up into this area, and there's nothing you can do about it at that point. So you want to make sure all the particulate stuff is out as much as possible. So I'm straining it again. Now I've got just a funnel and a cheesecloth over that's been washed. It looks kind of dingy, but it's been washed, I promise. And I'm just going to fill it mostly up with my vinegar solution. And again, this is my Four Thieves white vinegar. I had some left over when I decanted it, but I am actually going to need a little bit more. But see, look how much particulate is left after that. So yeah, you definitely want to do that. I learned that the hard way, trust me. Okay, so I actually put my Four Thieves in an apple cider vinegar bottle, because I used all of this today to make my facial apple cider vinegar, which I might do a video on eventually. But I say this is mostly going to be vinegar. I'm just going to put a little bit of the Soapnuts cleaning solution in it, just to give it that extra little bit of cleaning. I also use this combination in my little spray mop, because it comes with a container that you can fill up with your own stuff. And the same thing applies. You have to make sure you strain it really well, because there's also a tube and a sprayer involved in that. Okay, but I'm also going to put some essential oils in here, but let me just really quickly finish with the Soapnuts. So this is the third straining for the Soapnuts. And because it's still warm, I'm probably going to leave the top off of this until it cools off. I'll probably leave it on long enough to shake it up, and that's it. Okay, and that's about as full as I need to get it. And so there's that, and I'm going to put some essential oils in it. Now some of these are for fragrance, and some of these are for antibacterial properties. The first one is tea tree. Tea tree is anti-everything. It's antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral, I think, antiseptic, all kinds of stuff. I just put like 20 drops in there, around about. I'm not always terribly precise with my measurements. Oh, that's my fragrance oil that I want to use for my soap later. I've been making soap today too. I actually did one for a rebatch that I didn't realize would smell as good as it does. I'm actually quite proud of it. But okay, here's some clove. I love to put clove. Again, you know how I feel about clove. I put about 25 in there just for the fragrance. I might go a little overboard with my essential oils, but you know, I don't know of another way to go. I like to make my stuff smell good. That's one of the main reasons I prefer to do this all natural cleaning, because I hate chemically smells. I put around 15 of the orange in there. That's what that was orange essential oil. And this is the lavender. This is not a lavender essential oil brand that I use for therapeutics. I mainly use this one for fragrance. It's cheaper, and the fragrance is very good, but it's probably not the purest. I put around 13 in there. So that was just for fragrance. Same thing with the peppermint, that same brand that I don't really use for therapeutic a lot. It's just for fragrance. A little bit of peppermint. And I'm also going to put just a little bit of rosemary and a little bit of sage. Like I say, I'd probably go a little bit overboard, but you know, who cares? I don't. And here's the thing about all natural products that you use with infusions. The infusions are not going to be perfectly clear. They're not always going to be the most beautiful thing. But man, they do work, and man, they do smell well. Smell good. I used the wrong well. Dr. Wingard would let me have it for that. My advanced grammar professor from college. Okay, I have the hardest time with these lids. Okay. And then here's some sage. That's about 10 around in there. And so there you go. And that's my cleaning solution. And I'm just going to put the lid on it and shake it up. And I'm just going to move my camera real quick so you can see the mess. Maybe you can see the mess I've made on the stove here, this right here. I'm just going to show you real quick. And my spray. Oh, there it goes. There's my spray. I'm just going to use the sponge, and there you go. It smells good, it smells fresh, it doesn't smell chemically, and it does the job. Wow. But anyway, so there you go. There is my all-purpose cleaner. And here's me. Okay. And as I mentioned before, I will also show y'all how to make the laundry detergent that I use with Soapnuts, but I'll do that when I actually am ready to make it. I don't need it right now. Again, with the Soapnuts solution, just put it in the refrigerator. Like I said, especially if you don't want to use a preservative, make sure you put it in the refrigerator. And with your spray, if you don't put a preservative in that, now with something like this, you could probably use grapeseed oil, or not grapeseed oil, grapefruit seed oil, or citric acid. Those can both have very mild preservative effects, but not very great preservative effects. But because of all of the herbs that you've got in here already, then you can probably get away with it with this. But otherwise, if you don't use those things, then you definitely want to store it in your refrigerator if you want it to last for more than like a month. But yeah, there's that, and I'm going to proceed to make some more rebatch soap and do my thing. And if y'all have any questions, please comment, like, subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, check out both my Facebook page and my e-creator store down below. I would greatly appreciate the business. If you don't see what you like in either of my stores, then just send me a message and I can probably make it. If you have any questions about any of this, just send me a direct message and I'll be happy to answer your questions. So thank y'all so much.